Hey everyone, Liam from Solitude here. Thanks for coming back to my channel to check out my new video. And today I'm going to be taking a look at this book which recently came out. It's called Top 40 Aussie Rock Anthems. It's by a guy called Glen Humphries. Now I bought this book pretty soon after I found out that it came out because as you would know if you've watched my channel, I love Australian music. I love talking about Australian music. And I was interested to see what Glen Humphries puts in this book as his top 40 Aussie rock songs. So if you've also followed my channel for a while, you'd probably know that one of my most successful videos is one called Top 30 Australian Songs of All Time. Now, this video that I put out a couple of years ago is pushing towards 100,000 views, which is really good for me. I'm only a small channel, and it's one that keeps people coming back or clicking on my channel for the first time ever. And it's drawing a lot of attention more than any other video that I've made and continues to this day. It still gets hundreds of views every day. And I'm curious to see if this book is similar to my takes on my top 30. And at the end of this video, I might do a little bit of a comparison. And also I might make my list go out to a 40. Just to show where I think I would go with my next 10 that I didn't talk about in the video, and yeah, just see what lines up, and also just chat about the songs that Glen Humphries has put in his list, and yeah, give my thoughts and feelings about songs that he might not have put in, or maybe ones that he put too high or too low. Now, I haven't actually looked through this book at all, so these are going to be my first reactions to the songs that he's put in. So I'm hoping that it will be like an organic reaction for you. So I apologize if I will be looking down a little bit here or there, because I am obviously looking into a book. So number one, interestingly, he's gone with Throw Your Arms Around Me by Hunters and Collectors. So obviously I consider this to be one of the greatest Australian songs of all time, but would I put it at number one? Probably not, if I'm being honest. I think it's definitely in the top 10-ish, or maybe top 20-ish. Depending on opinions, but I would usually go with Cold Chisel K-San as the greatest Australian song of all time, as I put in my list, and I think that that's usually generally considered to be the greatest Australian song of all time, and opinions don't normally vary from that, so I'm surprised that he hasn't put that at number one. I suppose it's probably going to be coming up soon, but look, Throw Your Arms Around Me, I mean, number one is you know what, like, look, Throw Your Arms Around Me, would it deserve number one? Like, I'm not saying that's a stupid call. I think it's a beautiful song, and you know, it's very well respected in Australia and also abroad. Yeah, it really is a great iconic Australian piece of music. Number one, I'm not so sure. But yeah, it's definitely up there. All right, number two, he has gone with K-San by Cold Chisel. So, like I said, I probably would have had it at number one. I know a lot of other people do have this song at number one, for a variety of reasons. But he's gone with it at number two. So interesting that for his book and his list, he decided not to put it at number one. Maybe to kind of just show that his opinions are a little different. Maybe to just be a little bit, you know, out there. A little bit more bold, fair enough. But yeah, I honestly would probably consider this to be the greatest Australian song of all time. I think that its lyrics are just iconic. I love how it kind of connects Australian culture with also like wartime culture. It's just a really poetic story, beautiful instrumentation throughout the entire song. Obviously the piano is just like the piano melodies and chord progressions that they came up with are just so beautiful. So yeah, and Cold Chisel sound is just so iconically Australian. Just that you know, that pub friendly rock band sound. When you hear it, you just think, oh, Australia. I mean, that's what I think anyways. And K-San is often considered to be their biggest and greatest song. So I guess that's why a lot of people think that it's number one, but Glen Humphries, he's put it at number two. Okay, number three, he's gone with Beds Are Burning by Midnight Oil. Now, this is not a surprising inclusion either. Number three is a little high, for my opinion, but I suppose, look, I'd probably have this in the top 5 or 10. So, yeah, and five, in the top 5 is respectable. I don't disagree with putting it up there that high. It's clearly Midnight Oil's biggest song, arguably their best song. Die-hard fans may disagree with that, but it is their most recognizable one. It's one of the most recognizable songs that discusses Australian Indigenous culture as well, which I guess gives it like an extra sort of jump in the way it's respected, especially nowadays. So yeah, timeless classic of a song. And number 3, yeah, fair enough. You want to put it that high. I suppose as I keep going through this list, what I probably will come to see is Glen Humphries' demographic of music that he kind of respects the most, and I'm guessing he's mostly going to go with older stuff here. So we'll see if he puts in any music that came out, post 80s, anything from the 90s, anything from the 2000s, and I'll be really surprised if he puts anything from the 2010s in there, but we'll see. If you've seen my top 30 list, I put a couple of songs that came out in the 2010s in there, and some people didn't really like that about my list. So anyway, we'll maybe get to that in another video. All right, number 4. It's a Long Way to the Top, If You Want to Rock and Roll by AC/DC. Okay. Once again, cannot disagree with it being this high. I probably would put this a little higher. I would probably put this at 2. I'm going to compare with my list at the end of this video. And I must admit, I can't remember off the top of my head every number ranking that I put for every song, but I'm pretty sure I had it up quite high. I think I might have had it at 2. But yeah, this is obviously the most iconic AC/DC song, according to most Australians. I think if you were to go overseas, maybe people would think that maybe Back in Black or one of their other kind of Brian Johnson era songs might be more recognizable or more well known. But I think for Australia, we recognize It's a Long Way to the Top as being the best AC/DC song, and obviously one of the greatest Australian songs too. So, yep, not surprising to see that one at number 4. All right, number 5. We're back to Jimmy Barnes, not his band, but solo this time, Working Class Man. So, now I also remember having this one up quite high. I think number 5 is a respectable number for this. I think it is probably top 10. And it's once again another song that just encapsulates Australian culture really well. The working class culture and the hard man culture, the go to work 9 to 5, do your hard labor, get home, have a beer at the end of the day, look after your family. It's just like the iconic song for that part of our culture. So yeah, not surprising that it's in here. We're continuing to see mostly songs from that sort of 80s and 70s era so far. Let's keep going. Nothing too surprising yet. All right, number 6. Wow, now this is really high. He's gone with I Touch Myself by the Divinyls at number 6. I did have this song in my top 30, and it's probably one that in hindsight, I might have even, if I had my time again, I might not have put I Touch Myself in my top 30. With some of the criticisms that I get in the comments of my videos, or my video, this is probably one song that I would maybe slip out to replace another song with. But look, I think it deserves to be in the top 30. It's an iconic Australian song. Arguably the Divinyls' biggest song. Well, it probably is the Divinyls' most well-known song in the world. But it's probably one where it's like debatable as to what is their most iconic song in Australia. Because you could probably argue like Boys in Town is a more well-known song. Yeah, number 6 I think is, in my opinion, a little too high. If I were to have this song in a top 40, top 50, top 30 Australian songs list, I wouldn't put this in the top 10. I think it is a great song. I think it deserves to be recognized. But I think 6 is a little too high for my liking. Okay, number 7, he's gone with Down Under. And actually, I wasn't thinking about that song when we were going through the earlier songs, but yeah, this song really should be in the top 5 in my opinion. I think in my video I do put it quite high, maybe 2 or 3. So it definitely deserves to be top 10, and I'm not sure why he hasn't put it in the top 5. I mean, you could even argue it should be in the top 3, really. It's arguably the most iconic Australian song and most recognizable Australian song overseas. Like, if an American was making a list of the greatest Australian songs, they would probably put Down Under as number 1. So, yeah, Down Under, Men at Work at number 7, according to Glen Humphries. Yeah, it deserves to be the top 10. Probably should be higher than 7, in my opinion. All right, number 8, he's gone with Treaty by Yothu Yindi. So, I think this is about right. I think I had Treaty in my list at about 10. So, I guess we're kind of lining up there in a similar sort of spot. Probably the most iconic Australian song that was made by Indigenous Australians, and is specifically about Indigenous culture, as told by Indigenous people. Whereas Beds of Burning that I spoke about earlier is told by white people. So I'm not sure if he's counting like the remix or the original version. I didn't really stipulate that in my video either, but I would probably admit the remix. I'd probably admit that I prefer the remix version, just as a listening experience. It flows a little better in my opinion. But the original is also a beautiful story that's being told through music too, so you can't deny that. So number 8, yeah, it feels about right. Okay, number 9, he's gone with How to Make Gravy by Paul Kelly. So in my list, I put in To Her Door by Paul Kelly, so I'm not sure if he's going to do any double ups here. I'm assuming he's not going to. So yeah, that's kind of a big difference between me and him, but I think it is a little bit of a toss-up as to which is the best Paul Kelly song. Some people might think it's How to Make Gravy. I respect that opinion, and I think it is one of my favorite Paul Kelly songs. But I went with To Her Door. I think To Her Door is probably the one that is, most commonly played on the radio and has been for the longest time. It's probably the one you most commonly will hear pop up, if you're like around the shops or whatever, and a Paul Kelly song comes on, it's usually that one. How to Make Gravy, in my opinion, is probably like picking up steam lately, and maybe becoming more of like an argument for his biggest song in the last like 10 years. That argument has probably picked up. So yeah, I mean, it's a hard one, but he's gone with How to Make Gravy. I would have gone with To Her Door, but number 9 is also kind of high, if I'm being honest. Like he hasn't mentioned a few other iconic Australiana sort of songs yet, and I'm wondering why those ones aren't there. I would probably put some of those iconic Australiana type songs above How to Make Gravy. I mean, this is still arguably like an Australian story, but well, I kind of take that back. This is kind of an Australiana song. It's just a little bit more specific in its storytelling to an Australian family, where they're not really stipulating that they are Australian, but they're doing things that Australian people would be known to do in this story of How to Make Gravy. So yeah, look, number 9, I probably would have a Paul Kelly song in the top 15 or so, maybe not top 10. Okay, now we're at number 10, and he's gone with You're the Voice by John Farnham. I would probably have this a little higher. I think I might have had it higher in my list. Yeah, look, You're the Voice by John Farnham is iconically Australian. No one's doubting that. It's probably one of the songs in this list so far that you could argue is, more well-known overseas as well, which could give it a little bit more oomph, going in a list of greatest Australian songs. 10, I can't remember where I put this in my list, but I feel like it was higher than 10. So I think I'd probably maybe go a little higher, maybe closer to 5 for You're the Voice. But 10 is respectable. I'm not too disappointed with that number. There's a couple of songs that are popping in my mind right now that I'm thinking, why hasn't he put those ones in yet? So we're gonna see if they come up soon. Okay, number 11, he's gone with The Horses by Daryl Braithwaite. I think I had this song around about there too, maybe a little lower, to be honest. It's funny, The Horses and You're the Voice, I feel like are kind of similar sort of songs where they're kind of like these iconic pump you up stadium rock songs that you might play at like the end of a sporting event or something. I think this song definitely deserves to be in here. Probably one thing about the song that might set it back a little lower than 11 for me, in my opinion, is that it's not actually like written by an Australian, which I know some of these other songs may well not be either, but it's a cover. So this is a cover of a song that Daryl Braithwaite did really well, essentially. He probably has the best version of this song that's out there. I think there's about 2 or 3 other versions of it. So, and he, I don't know, he made it sound kind of Australian in a way. He kind of made it sound like it fit into that You're the Voice sort of Australian sound. So good on him for doing that. And yeah, number 11 is a little high, I think, but it's not too bad. I'm not disappointed to see that. Okay, Friday on My Mind by the Easy Beats at 12. I probably would have this in the top 10. I'd probably knock this up a little higher because it's arguably the first Australian song to have huge success ever since rock and roll was a thing. So I feel like if you're the first to do something, that should hold you in really high stead. And the Easy Beats did that with Friday on My Mind. It's the song that, when young people were first getting into contemporary music, this was it for Australians. This was the song. So it still holds up to this day. If this song comes on, people recognize it. It doesn't sound out of place, even though it's like, how old now? 60, 50 years old, something like that. It's just an iconic song. It should be in the top 10, I think. I think he needs to get this one a little higher, but 12 is okay. Like, yeah, this song should definitely be higher than I Touch Myself. I mean, come on. Okay, number 13, he's gone with Sounds of Then by Ganga Jang. Now, I probably would have had this one in the top 10. I think I do in my list because I think it just describes Australian culture and Australian surrounds and landscapes beautifully. It's just one of the most iconically Australian sounding songs. So for that reason, I think it's got to be a little higher than 13. But 13 is still respectable, I guess. I think I'd definitely have it in my top 10 in my list. I'd probably have it around like 8 or so, I think. Maybe even closer to 5. But we'll keep going. See what else he's got in here. I think he might be coming up with his more Australiana songs now. Okay, this is an interesting one. We've gone with a newer song here. Number 14, he's gone with Scar by Missy Higgins. Now, this is a song that I didn't have in my top 30. I think I had it in honorable mentions. Of all songs to come out post 1980 or post 1989 that are Australian songs, I wouldn't have this one as the greatest, to be honest. Now, I'm guessing that majority of the songs in his book, in this list here, are going to be songs that came out pre-1990. So if there's any songs in here that are out after that, like, he's probably pushed himself to put those in. And Scar is an odd choice, I'm going to have to say. Like, it deserves to be recognized. I think if there's like a top 50, I would definitely have it in. But in the top 15, no. It's a great song. It's an awesome song. It's an iconic song from that 2000s Australian era of music, but it's not the 14th greatest song from Australia. I'm sorry, but it's not at all. No way. There's 20 other songs that are better than this. So yeah, this is probably my first major disagreement. Not that I dislike this song, it's just that I don't rate it as high. Okay, number 15, he's gone with Lovers in the Air by John Paul Young. So, alright, well this is one that I don't have in my list, and I don't think it was on my honourable mentions either. Of course I do know this song. It's an iconic song, it's an iconic Australian song, but I think the reason why I don't rate it as high as this is because I find it to be really gimmicky. And I find it to be like a karaoke song at best. And I know that's kind of maybe a little bit disrespectful to this song, because it is a very well written song and a recognizable song. It is a very good pop song. But is this the 15th greatest Australian song of all time? No, I don't believe so at all. I think if we had a top 50, I would respect that if it was in like the 40s or something like that. I could get around that, but there's no way this is the 15th greatest Australian song in my book. I just flat out disagree with that. Okay, number 16, he's gone with Am I Ever Gonna See Your Face Again by The Angels. I think this is about right. I'd maybe have it a little higher. Once again, it's one of those songs where it's like iconically Australian sounding. It just sounds like it comes straight out of an Australian pub and straight into your ears. 16 is a respectable number for it. I'm not too disappointed with that, but there's probably a few other songs that I've come across through this book already where I'm like, yeah, Am I Ever Gonna See Your Face Again? I definitely have that higher. Like, I definitely have it higher than Scar. I'd have it higher than Lovers in the Air. So I'm not sure why he's put it behind those ones. I guess there is an argument out there that you could say that it's just a little corny too. And maybe that makes it a little lower. But I think like the crowd reaction to this song is the giveaway. Like, this is the hypest crowd reaction Australian song of all time. Okay, interesting. 17, he's gone with Berlin Chair by UMI. Now, I don't think I put this in my top 30. And I think maybe I put it in my honorable mentions. But let me tell you something about Berlin Chair by UMI. I freaking love this song. I think it is an amazing song. It's an amazing like pop rock song. It's almost like the perfect pop rock song in my opinion. It's just like perfectly written. It's only like two and a half minutes long, but it like that whole 2.5 minutes, it's like completely engaging and a brilliant piece of music. The reason why I didn't put it in my top 30 is because I think it's just still too underground. And if you're trying to make like a generalized list, there would be a lot of people reading this book who've probably never even heard Berlin Chair by UMI. Or maybe there's people who've heard it like once, or maybe there's people who've heard it and be like, oh, I recognize this song, but I don't, it's been a while since I've heard it. So that's the reason why I don't think I could put it in the 30, because it's just not as recognizable. If we were making like a top 20 Australian songs, like a top 20 underrated Australian songs of all time, this could potentially be number one. It's a very underrated song because it's never really risen out of the underground. And it's always had just like this really strong underground appreciation. Like anytime they do a Triple J Hottest 100 of all time sort of countdown and vote, it always seems to end up in there somehow. Like always, without fail. So there's still like this big contingent of people that love this song. So look, I respect that he's put it in there a lot. But I personally wouldn't put it in like a generalized list such as this. My 10 favorite Australian songs of all time, it may well be in there. And maybe it would be for the author too. His name just escaped me. Glen Humphries. But yeah, respect for putting that in. Major respect. Okay, 18 is gone with Don't Dream It's Over by Crowded House. I think I had this song in around about 18-ish too. I think that's pretty bang on. I think this is definitely Crowded House's biggest song, and arguably their best song. No disagreements at all. I think I'm really happy with about 18 for that song. And to stipulate more than once on this channel, Crowded House are an Australian band. They're not from New Zealand, okay? No, they're not. And you know what else? Pavlova is also Australian. And so is Farlap. And so is Russell Crowe. We could keep going. Okay. Speaking of keeping going. Number 19. Is this a coincidence? He's gone with I Was Only 19 at number 19 by Red Gum, of course. So, interesting. Now, I didn't put this in my top 30, but I do get a lot of people commenting on my videos saying this song should have been in. So maybe if I had my time again, I would have included it. But 19, yeah, okay. I respect that. I probably wouldn't have it that high. I'd probably have it around 30-ish, maybe. But it is iconically Australian, similar to like K-San, how it talks about Australian culture and wartime culture. But yeah, look, 19 feels a little high, but it doesn't feel out of place in this list at all, so that's fine. Okay, ooh, interesting. We've gone with another modern song here. At number 20, Get Free by The Vines. Now, I did not have this song in my top 30. This is probably another one where, similar to Berlin Chair, like, most underrated Australian songs of all time? Sure, this one will probably be in the top 10. My favourite Australian songs of all time? This song I would have in consideration. I freaking love this song too. It reminds me a lot of my childhood. It reminds me a lot of the game Topspin, because it was in the opening credits of that video game that I used to play on my Xbox all the time. It was in a lot of ads. It was everywhere when it first came out in the early 2000s. And it is a brutally iconic song. I mean, the singing, the guitar, the drumming. It's an amazing rock song. People like really want to trash on the Vines nowadays because they kind of like fell flat and they kind of fell apart, and they didn't do a whole lot after their amazing debut album, and they were a little bit like a flash in the pan. But this song is an amazing piece of work. Is it the 20th greatest Australian song of all time? I don't think so. I don't think it's in the top 30. I think it could be about 40th or 50th, around there. I think I might have had this in the honorable mentions for me. But yeah, it's a little high for my liking, if we're generalizing, which, we've got to remember, we are generalizing when we make these lists. Okay, a similar era here. He's gone with, at number 21, Are You Gonna Be My Girl by Jet. So, interesting you put the Vines in front of this song. I probably would have had it around the other way. I think that this song should probably be a little higher than Get Free, just because it was bigger. It was so big. This song was one of the biggest songs in the world for a couple of years there in the early 2000s. It's an iconic song. It's not really Australian sounding or anything, but it did kind of capture the sound of that like early 2000s garage rock revival sound really well. And kind of like the Vines, it was used in a lot of movies and ads and TV shows and video games and things like that. And it kind of probably did saturate the song a little bit. But I think in hindsight, now that like 20 years has passed, it's like a very respectable song. And people who try to put it down saying like, oh, it's just a copy of like Iggy Pop. I mean, come on guys. Like, yeah, I mean, yeah, it wears its influence pretty obviously on its sleeve, but it's still like a really good song. And I mean, there's so many other songs out there that are great songs, which wear quite clear influences as well. So I don't think it's a valid criticism of it. And 21 is a little high. I think I had it closer to 30. I think I had it at 30 maybe in my list. So it feels a little high, but it's all right. I don't mind it being at 21. Whoa, okay. Now I've been waiting for this song for a while. 22, he's gone with Great Southern Land. This is way too low, in my opinion. Great Southern Land by Icehouse, it should be in the top 10. It's one of the most iconic Australian songs of all time. It sounds Australian. It describes Australian culture and landscapes so well. It's like the sort of song where, like, if an Australian team runs out on the field to play sport, this song will be playing. So, yeah, I mean, it definitely deserves to be in this book and on this list, but 22 is way too low in my opinion. It should be about 5, I think. I'm really surprised he has put it this low. Okay, let's keep going. Probably one other thing to recognize so far is no double ups. I don't think he's going to do any double ups. It'll probably be 40 individual acts with their biggest song each, I'm guessing. 23, Horror Movie by the Skyhooks. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Feels about right there. I can't remember if I put this in my list or not. I think I didn't. I might have put it in honorable mentions, and it definitely should be around like the 30th mark. I think 23 maybe is a little high, and the reason why I don't maybe put this as high as some other people is because I think that this song, it's less about the song and more about the album, in my opinion. The Living in the 70s album is the iconic piece of work. So if we're making like a list of the greatest Australian albums, I definitely include Living in the 70s, where this song comes off of. And yeah, this song was like one of the biggest songs on that album. Obviously, like, well, the biggest and the main single. But I feel like people, when they remember Skyhooks, they remember the album more than the single. So that's why I maybe didn't include it in the top 30 songs. But it's thereabouts. I will need to check that to see if I did put it in. I can't remember if I did or didn't. Okay, so he's gone at 24 with My Happiness by Powderfinger. Interesting. I went with These Days by Powderfinger. I really still cannot decide as to which is the more respectable Powderfinger song. If we had double ups in this list, I would put both of them in, to be honest. I'd put both These Days and My Happiness in. I think that people who are like more kind of like normies about Australian music are more likely to recognize My Happiness, but like more kind of niche Australian music fans and diehard Powderfinger fans are the ones who will say like These Days is their best song. So like whenever they do a Triple J Hottest 100 list and countdown of the greatest songs, it's always These Days that comes up higher as opposed to My Happiness. Whereas like the Triple M count they did, the main competitor of Triple J, which Triple M, if I'm being honest, is more sort of like normie music, more sort of people who are happy to have music spoon-fed to them, as opposed to Triple J fans who traditionally are like seeking out more niche stuff. My Happiness came in higher on the Triple M list, and These Days came in higher on the Triple J list. So, but yeah, 24 feels about right for the best Powderfinger song, whichever one you argue that would be. I think I had These Days a little higher than 24 though. But at the end of the day, like, I still respect that 24 and My Happiness. Okay, 25, Eagle Rock by Daddy Cool. Now this song, if I had my time again, would probably be the one song that I would have put in my top 30, because when I put my video out, it was the one song that immediately I got the most comments about, where people said, why didn't you include Eagle Rock in your list? And a lot of people even comment on my list saying Eagle Rock should be number 1. Now I don't think it's number 1. It's clearly not number 1. I guess you could make an argument for it being in the top 10. I don't really agree with that. But the reason why I didn't include it in my top 30 was and my judgment was wrong here, but I had the feeling that the respect for Eagle Rock was kind of dying down, and it wasn't like a song that people had as much respect for anymore. And I thought people thought that this song was getting a little bit gimmicky and a little bit silly, but I was clearly wrong, because there's a lot of people out there who think Eagle Rock is one of the greatest Australian songs of all time. So if I were to make a generalized list, I would include it. So if I made an adjustment to my list, I would put it in my 30. I really did toy with putting it in. And I think I did say it in a comment on my video that I was like this close to putting it in, and it was probably like my 31st song. It was like the last one I cut. But I chose to put some more respected songs in there, like ones that weren't as gimmicky, in my opinion. But yeah, 25, it probably feels about right, to be honest, in my opinion. Okay, 26, they've gone with April Sun in Cuba by Dragon. Now, okay, one flat out disagreement I have with this is that I would probably technically call Dragon a New Zealand band. I don't count Dragon as an Australian band. Now, if we circle back to Crowded House, I count Crowded House as an Australian band, even though Neil Finn was one of the founding members, and he clearly is a Kiwi. The other two founding members of Crowded House were Australians, and Neil Finn was living in Australia when they established the band Crowded House. I believe that they, when you say where a band comes from, you need to take into account where they established the act. Where did they first start playing live shows? Where did they first start recording their music? Crowded House, they started doing that in Australia. Split Enz, on the other hand, the band that the Finn brothers were in before Crowded House, is a New Zealand band, in my opinion. They started in New Zealand, started playing shows in New Zealand, started recording in New Zealand. They moved over to Australia to find more of an audience. But I still count them as New Zealand. Dragon, now I don't profess to be a Dragon aficionado or all too knowledged on the history of the band Dragon, but as far as I know, they are kind of like Split Enz. They grew up in New Zealand. They formed their band in New Zealand. They first started playing live shows and recording music in New Zealand, and then they moved over to Australia to find a bigger audience and established themselves here. But I think they considered themselves to be a New Zealand band, and I think they're a New Zealand band. So I don't believe that song should be in this list at all, if I'm being honest, because they're not an Australian band. It's not an Australian song. Okay, 27, he's gone with Tomorrow by Silverchair. Now, I had this song in my top 30 as well. It's definitely got to be in there. It's the most iconic 90s Australian song, in my opinion. It's 27 here. That feels about right. I think I might have had a tad higher, maybe the high in the high 20s. But yeah, that's fine by me. 27 by Silverchair. Some might argue a little higher. Keep going. Okay, now this one is way too low. Okay, 28, he's gone with Solid Rock by Goanna. Why 28? That's got to be in the top 10. That's just another one that just explains Australian culture so eloquently and beautifully. It's a beautiful Australian story. Like, in my opinion, songs that are able to encapsulate Australian culture to a very immense degree need to be higher. Like, Solid Rock needs to be higher than Tomorrow by Silverchair. It just needs to be. It's just a more iconic Australian song. And all the other songs that have gone before it, it's more of an Australian song. And it's respected for being Australian. So it's got to be in at least the top 10, in my opinion. So I don't know why he's had this a bit lower. Obviously, it's not as successful. It's not as much of a successful song overseas, but it's got to be in the top 10. Okay, all right. Now this is very interesting. Okay, number 29. He's gone with "Shut Up Your Face" by Joe Dulce Music Theatre. Okay, no way in hell would I put this in the top 40 Australian songs. No way in hell. For a couple of reasons, okay? It's a joke song. I guess you could argue it's funny. Yes. Number two, it's kind of racist. um, yeah, like, I mean, at the time, there wasn't as much hysteria around like making fun of other cultures, but times have changed a lot. I'm really interested to read what he puts in this book about this song and how he justifies putting it in here, but this is very controversial. Like, if I were to put this song in my top 30 and put it on YouTube, I can't imagine the comments that I'd be getting. People would be saying, "How dare you put that song in?" Like, they'd be trying to cancel me. Um, there is no way I'd put this song in my list. I honestly don't think it's funny. I guess I get why people thought it was funny, like 40 years ago or whatever, but it's not really that good of a song. It's just a stupid little comedy song. Like, if we were gonna put in a comedy song, and I guess it's not a song, like a comedy piece of recording, why not Australiana by Ostentatious, which is also kind of offensive, but I think it's more clever than this song, and it's more iconic than this song. Weird. I don't know why you put that in. Okay, number 30, he's gone with "I Still Call Australia Home" by Peter Allen. Interesting. Now, I didn't put this song in my list, and it's not in my honorable mentions either. I didn't really count songs like this for my list. I don't really count this as a contemporary song. I think it's a great song, and it's a beautiful piece of music. It's really well written, and it's iconic. Like, whenever we hear it, we know what the song is. But I didn't count songs like this. I didn't count like "Waltzing Matilda." I didn't count "I Am Australian," which some people think is by the Seekers, but it's not actually by the Seekers. It's by one of the people from the Seekers who wrote the song, and the Seekers sometimes performed it. So yeah, I didn't count those songs because I was coming up with, like, in my opinion, like contemporary songs. And I think this is like a theater song, in my opinion. And like "Waltzing Matilda" is like another one where it's like, that's a traditional folk song. And "I'm Australian" is kind of like I don't even know what you'd call that, but it's not like a contemporary song. Like, it's not made for I don't know. It's like not made for like artistic appeal. It's made for it is more of like a call to action for Australians to come together. It's kind of like an ad. It's more like a jingle or a slogan, really, in my opinion. Not to diminish how good the song is that they came up with, but I don't really count it in lists like this. And I suppose it's kind of, now that I think about it, it's kind of funny that he's called it like top 40 rock anthems, and you've included "I Still Call Australia Home." Like, that's not a rock anthem. Sorry. Like, I suppose that it uses instruments that rock music uses to a degree, but it's not a rock song. Weird. I wouldn't include that in this list. Okay, number 31, he's gone with "My People" by The Presets. Interesting. I don't mind it. I don't mind it being that high. I don't think it's definitely not in my top 30 on my video. I think I give it an honorable mention in my list, but 31 feels a little high. I'd probably have it in the 40s. It is a great song. It's iconic. The sounds of the synths just when they come in. So yeah, interesting that he's gone with this more modern song. I think it's this one, and "My Happiness" is a 2000 song, and "Scar," another 2000 song that he put in there. So I'm interested to see what other kind of more modern songs he goes with, but he's gone with "My People" at 31. Okay, 32, he's gone with "How's That" by Sherbet. Interesting again, because I feel like this one is a little gimmicky. It's iconically Australian. Kind of goes with like cricket a little bit. I mean, the lyrics aren't really about cricket, but like the term "how's that" goes with cricket. So it often gets used with cricket culture, which is very big in Australia. It's often like kind of put together with that 70s era of cricket, like the Chappell brothers and Kerry Packer and the World Series cricket and all that. So I guess you could say it is kind of in Australian culture. 32, yeah, is fine, I guess. If I was going to have a top 50 or 40, I'd probably have it in like the 40s. I probably wouldn't have it as high as 32. Okay, he's gone with Buy Me a Pony by Spiderbait at 33. Alright, interesting. This one's kind of a little bit more like UMI with their song Bell and Chair, a little bit more like underground. This song's never really got out of the underground, I don't think. It was one of the early Hottest 100 number one songs. I think they might have been the first Australian band to hit number one in the Hottest 100 for Triple J. 33, I'll admit, feels a little high, if I'm being honest. I don't know if I would put it in there. I think it is a really cool song. I love it. I love this song. But I'm waiting to see what else comes up. But I feel like there's some songs that should be above this. So let's keep going. Can't Get You Out of My Head by Kylie Minogue. Okay, that's at number 34. Now, I would probably have this song a lot higher. I think I do in my list. It's definitely in my 30. I think this is arguably like the greatest Australian pop song of all time. Like, it's very much just a pop song. So, and calling back to the title again, Rock Anthems, man. Why did you call this Rock Anthems if you're going to put in Can't Get You Out of My Head? Like, this is not a rock song. But yeah, I would put this pretty close to about 10, I would say, in my opinion, because when this song came out, like, it was everywhere. And the title, Can't Get You Out of My Head, like, people could not get this song out of their head. It was just, like, one of the greatest pop songs ever written, really. I like it as well because it's like one of those pop songs that's, like, simple and catchy, and it does get stuck in your head, but it's not, like, annoying, surprisingly. Like, it's not, like, Gangnam Style or, like, Crazy Frog or Dance Monkey or something stupid like that, where those pop songs were just like so like forced onto us because they're like, oh, this is catchy, like you can't just not hum this or whatever. Like, this song was like so popular because it was so good. So yeah, I'd have it higher than 34, much higher. I'd have it like maybe closer to 10. Okay, 35, he's gone with What About Me by Moving Pictures. So some people still might remember this song from the Shannon Noll cover, the Australian Idol contestant. But yeah, obviously it's by a band called Moving Pictures, and the song originally came out in the 80s. It's an iconic song. It's not in my top 30. I don't remember if I put in my honorable mentions, but 35 feels about right. I'm not too disappointed with that. I'd maybe push it to about 40 if I had to be judgy. Interesting. Number 36, he's gone with Somebody That I Used to Know by Gautier. This song should be higher. I'm sorry, but it should definitely be higher. Now, this isn't one of those ones that's iconically Australian or anything, but I guess this is comparable to like Kylie Minogue's song, which I was just talking about. It's just one of the greatest songs ever written, in my opinion. I know that's like a big claim to say something like that, but the fact that this song was like written by an underground artist who had no like label backing, no one pushed this song, like no one like put money behind it to push it. It was just so good that it took off. It's just like if you were to make a list of the greatest Australian songs written, and you were talking about like songwriting, I would probably have this at number 1. So it should be in the top 15 at least, in my opinion. And this would probably be the first song I think in here. I'm pretty sure it is the first song that came out post 2010. So I'm not sure if you'll bring up any others. We've only got 4 left. But I think you should have put this one higher in the list. All right, let's keep going. All right, Prisoner of Society by The Living End at number 37. So I have this song in my list. I think actually this song is 30 in my list from memory. So I put it a little higher. Yeah, look, that's fair. That's not bad. I think it definitely deserves to be mentioned in a book like this. It's a great song. It was iconic for its time in the 90s when it came out. It was really big all over the world, which was really cool for this band because they were just like a bunch of punk kids. And 37 feels about right. Like, I'm not too upset with that decision, but I had it higher in my view. There's maybe some like kind of older songs that you could argue you could put higher than this song, that kind of have stood the test of time a little longer. All right, we're getting close to the end. Okay, number 38, he's gone with Black Fella, White Fella by the Warumpi Band. Yeah, okay. I didn't mention this one in my video. I don't think it's in my honorable mentions either. I guess it's a cool song because it's iconic to Indigenous culture as well. We have had a couple of others already mentioned that do talk about Indigenous culture. I guess it feels about right that this would be like the third most well-known Indigenous culture song. So, yeah, no issues with that. In the top 40, I don't know. I don't know if I'd have this in the top 40. I think it's, maybe close to about 50th, maybe 60th, something like that, if I was making a list. I don't have any issues with the song at all. I think it's a cool song. But I think there's probably some others that should be higher, and we're going to get to my list because I think there's some that I included that he hasn't. Okay, here's one that I was just thinking, like, where's this band? Why hasn't he spoken about this band yet? Number 39, he's put Don't Change by INXS. Okay, so in my list, I put in an INXS song. I didn't put in Don't Change. I put in Never Tear Us Apart. So I think it is probably a toss-up between Never Tear Us Apart, Don't Change, and I Need You Tonight, as being the biggest INXS, as being the biggest INXS songs. And I think it depends on who you talk to, when you come to the conclusion as to which one is the biggest. I think that if you were to speak to like an American, or someone from outside Australia, they would probably either go with Need You Tonight or Never Tear Us Apart. But Australians would maybe argue Don't Change, because it was like their first big Australian hit, and it is an iconic song. So look, I don't mind that he's gone with Don't Change as opposed to Never Tear Us Apart, but why has he put it at 39? Like, that's way too low. It should be in the top 30 easily, and it should be closer to like 15, I reckon. That feels about right to me. Maybe close to 10. All right, the last song, getting up to 40. We'll round it out with Boys Light Up by Australian Crawl. Okay, this is another one that is debatable as to which is the biggest song from the band. I put in my list in my top 30, I put in Reckless, and I think Reckless is their biggest song. But once again, it depends who you talk to. It could be Reckless, Boys Light Up, or, I don't know, Things Don't Seem, or Errol. They've got about 4 or 5 that are really big songs, to be honest, but he's gone with Boys Light Up. Okay, if we're going to put an Australian Crawl song in, I think they should be in the 30. And I think it should be Reckless, in my opinion. I think Boys Light Up is like an iconically Australian sounding song because of its like pub rock sound and feel that I've spoken of multiple times already. But I think Reckless is just a better song, hands down. It's a really nice ballad. It's a beautiful piece of music. I think Boys Light Up, in hindsight, like, now that time's passed as well, I don't know, I feel like it's kind of a little bit silly. Like, the lyrics are kind of silly. Like, I mean, isn't this song like kind of about sex toys? I don't know, like it's just kind of like a stupid concept for a song, whereas Reckless is more about like something a little bit deeper, you know, personal relationships, and it's kind of describing a story, and it's like nice the way it's told. So yeah, I would definitely have Reckless in instead of Boys Light Up. Wow, okay. That's the end of the book, and he has a bibliography at the end, which is really cool. I suppose maybe that's just where he's taking some quotes from. There's no honorable mentions, I don't think. Okay, I'm just looking through the list of my songs again. I've just brought it up on Spotify. So yeah, we've got so my list. I've gone K-San, Down Under. It's a long way to the top. All those ones are up pretty high. See, I had Down Under 2. He had Down Under 7. See, I had Icehouse's Great Southern Land at 4, and he had that one really low. See, I had Goanna's Solid Rock a bit higher at 8. Working Class Man, we both had up there. Sounds of Then, I had it a bit higher than him. You're the Voice I had in the 10. I don't think he had it in there. Beds of Burning, I had at 9, which he had a bit higher than me. See, I had Friday on My Mind at 10. Yo Through Yindi was about the same. I had my NXS song a lot higher than he did. Hunters and Collectors, Throw Your Arms Around Me, he had at 1. I had that at 13. So there you go. Like I don't think it should be number 1. I don't see why he made the book and felt the urge to put that song at number 1. I feel like he just wanted to kind of like imprint his own opinion a little bit there, and his own love for that song. Which, I mean, if he wants to do that, that's cool. It's his own book. But I don't think it's number 1. These Days, I had Powderfingers These Days, I had a lot higher than he did. Well, he had My Happiness In. Well, there you go. Am I ever going to see your face again? 15. He had it about the same. Reckless, Don't Dream It's Over, had similar. Oh yeah, my Paul Kelly song, I had a lot lower than him. Maybe I could have had my Paul Kelly song a bit higher, in hindsight. That's okay. Okay, Gautier's Somebody They Used to Know, I had it at 19. He had it a lot lower. I think I was saying just before, I probably would have thought maybe closer to 15. Tomorrow at 20. I think I had mine a touch higher. Okay, now we're getting into some songs that he didn't mention. He didn't mention a Nick Cave song. Wow. I had Into My Arms in my list, in my top 30. And there was no mention of Nick Cave. No mention of Under the Milky Way by The Church. Now, that's a big omission. That's one of the best Australian written songs. How we were like kind of mentioning that before. It's a beautifully written song. So I think that definitely should have been in there. Can't Get You Out of My Head, we both had in there. The Horses, he had the Horses a lot higher. I Touch Myself by the Divinals, he had a lot higher than I did, but I had it in there. Okay, now here we're starting to get to some ones that we have different. So I have the Hilltop Hoods, the Nosebleed section in there. I was not surprised that he didn't put that in. I mean, as he titled it, it's Rock Anthems, and this is a hip-hop song. But I think if we're talking about the greatest Australian songs of all time, the Nosebleed section by the Hilltop Hoods needs to be in the top 30. It's the most iconic Australian hip-hop song of all time, the greatest Australian hip-hop song of all time. And it doesn't just need to be in there because hip-hop needs to be included. It needs to be in there because it's just one of the best Australian songs. Like, it actually talks about Australian culture a little bit in that song too. So it needs to be in there. And he didn't put it in. The Less I Know, the Better I had in my 30. Wasn't surprised to see that he didn't put it in because that is a more recent song, as is Vance Joy's Riptide, which I also put in. So yeah, those two, I believe they should be included in the discussion, and they're probably two songs that, like, people who watch my top 30 list and are over the age of like 45 get really triggered by when they see that I put those in, because they really just don't understand like the respect and popularity that those two songs got all over Australia and the world. Maybe putting them in the 30 in hindsight was a bit of a push and a bit of a stretch, but I really just wanted to represent all eras of Australian culture really well, and I wanted to kind of come up with a list where I kind of like imagined in my mind, if I got like 100 random Australians, all from different cultures and age demographics, what would the top 30 look like? I think, maybe The Less I Know, the Better and Riptide would be in there. But if you just got like 100 Australians who are 40 and over, then yeah, maybe there wouldn't be a Tame Impala song in there. There probably wouldn't be one. I would almost guarantee it. There wouldn't be one. But the commenters on YouTube don't seem to understand that about my list. So Prisoner of Society both had in there. Jet, Are You Gonna Be My Girl? I had in there. So did he. Okay, and here's some that I put in as honorable mentions. So no mention of Better by the Screaming Jets. Surprised he didn't mention that one, actually. I felt like that song was in the era of songs he was really going for. So Evie, not mentioned. Red Gum he had in there. Eagle Rock by Daddy Cool he had in there, which I didn't. Choir Boys Run to Paradise we both didn't have in. True Blue by John Williamson we both didn't have in, but I had an honorable mention. The Real Thing, Russell Morris, no mention. What About Me, Moving Pictures? Okay, so I have that in my honorable mentions, and he put that in his book. Sherbet, How's That? He put in his book. I had Horror Movie in my honorable mentions, and he had that in his book. Alone With You, Sunny Boys, there was no mention of that. No mention of Most People I Know, Billy Thorpe. Wolfmother, Joker and the Thief, no mention. Probably a more modern one. I'm just looking down the list now. I don't think I have the Vines in my honorable mentions, which he had in his book. The Triffids, Wide Open Road was not mentioned. No Hoodoo Gurus, Alex Lloyd not mentioned. Savage Garden not mentioned. The Go-Betweens not mentioned. Okay, You and My Berlin Chair I do have in my honorable mentions, and he had it in his book. And One Crowded Out by Augie March, no mention. Sweet Disposition, no mention. Okay, so I think the only song that he put in his book, there was a couple of songs that he put in his book that I didn't mention at all. And that was the Scar was probably the biggest one, really. Scar by Missy Higgins. I didn't have in my honorable mentions, and he had that, I think, at 15. So very interesting. Very interesting to compare what Mr. Glen Humphries has put in his book. I'm looking forward to having a read through to see how he explains and justifies some of his decisions. And I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'd go and check out the book, maybe buy it from like Dimmicks or something if you're interested. It's a really nice looking book. It's thick, sort of thing you can put on your coffee table. And yeah, I'm hoping it's going to be a nice read, but that's the reveal of the top 40 if you couldn't be bothered reading. I've just shared with you what the top 40 are. So thanks for checking this video out, everyone. And if you like this sort of thing, please like and subscribe, and I will hopefully see you again soon. Thanks, bye.